Hi, I'm Olga, a sugar detox and a low-carb coach. Today I'm going to take 5 of the most popular sugar quitting tips from the internet and tell you if they really work. And of course, I'm going to give you tips on how to make them work for you so you can quit sugar for good. Clearly, people are starting to realize that eating and drinking too much sugar is hurting them. People are starting to gain weight, start having diabetes, heart problems. They even say that sugar feeds cancer cells. But once we decide to quit sugar, we run into a problem of sugar cravings. And those are really hard to beat. So many of us go online and start searching on how to quit sugar and stop sugar cravings. Most online searches will give you these 5 tips. Read labels, stay hydrated, manage your stress, eat real foods, and get enough sleep. What does sleep, stress, or even water have to do with your sugar cravings, you may ask? And what is the big deal about eating real foods? Let's dive in. So, tip number 1 from the internet on how to quit sugar is read the labels. Check all labels for hidden sugars. When you decide to cut out sugar, you need to become vigilant about reading labels, ingredient labels on your foods. And that includes the drinks, because drinks can contain sometimes significant amount of sugars. But you also need to know that food manufacturers sometimes hide sugars under different names, and you need to know those names so you can search them out on the labels. Besides sugar, this can be corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, glucose, even honey, sometimes even maltodextrin, which is also sugar. If you're just starting searching for sugars in your packaged foods, you need to do an online search and find a table that contains all the names of sugars and screenshot them. I also added a list of the main hidden sugars in my free sugar detox guide. You can find the link to download it in the description of the video. Sugar is added to so many processed foods that you wouldn't even expect to have sugar. For example, bread, processed meats, ketchup, and even salad dressings. And all that sugar adds up quickly. But what is even worse, eating foods that contain hidden sugars will keep your sugar cravings alive. And it's going to be very hard for you to quit sugar, because you end up craving even more sugar when you eat those foods. Another thing, when reading the labels, pay attention to the added sugars in the ingredient list, but also the total sugars and total carbohydrates. This is important, especially if you are trying to go on a low-carb diet, because sometimes the manufacturers, they have added sugars, but they also will have naturally occurring sugars in the ingredients, which will be separate and still can be a significant amount there. For example, if you look at yogurt, yogurt can have added sugars, which may be relatively small amount, like 5 grams. But then there will be other total carbohydrates coming from starches and also the naturally occurring lactose in yogurt. So all these total sugars can add up and keep your cravings alive. Tip number 2, stay hydrated. Drinking plenty of water will help you reduce your sugar cravings. How does that work? Drinking enough water for your body helps you flush out the toxins out of your body. And this is important because once you stop eating sugar, your body starts going into sugar withdrawal mode. It starts having a lot of toxins circulating in the body because the cleansing processes will turn on. And you need to drink plenty of water to flush it all out of your system. Ideally, you need to drink 30 to 40 milliliters of water per kilogram of weight. If you want to convert it to ounces and pounds, you need to use a Google search for that. On my blog at olgalsiat.com, you can find an article where I talk in depth about drinking water and how much and how to convert the numbers. I will attach the link in the description. But what many specialists online don't talk about yet is the important aspect of water is the mineral content of water. This is what actually helps us to stay hydrated. Minerals help our cells, all the cells of our organs, to get the nutrients into them. And minerals are important for removing the metabolic waste from the cells and removing it out of the body. When we don't get enough minerals with our food and water, our bodies become dehydrated. And to compensate for it, our body starts taking minerals out of our personal storage, out of our bones, and that eventually leads to osteoporosis. The easiest way to add minerals to your clean filtered water is to add them as water mineral supplements. I will attach the link to the video where I talk about my favorite minerals and how I add them to the water. Tip number 3 on how to stop your sugar cravings from the internet is eat whole foods. Focus on fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins. First of all, I want to rephrase the phrase that I just said before as eat more vegetables and proteins. If you have seen my previous video on fruits on a low-carb diet, you know that I am not a fan of the phrase eat more fruits and vegetables, because this simple phrase makes fruits equal or even superior to vegetables, when in reality they are not equal. Fruits have a lot more sugar, and they are not that great for you if you are trying to quit sugar, because they can keep your sugar cravings alive. Watch my video on fruits on a low-carb diet to learn more and eat more vegetables instead. A person who is trying to quit sugar should focus on eating more protein and vegetables to keep their sugar cravings low. Buy unprocessed foods from the supermarket and cook them at home. This way you are the most in control of what goes into your body. In my Sugar Detox program, I recommend to my customers to start the day with 30 grams of protein, preferably from animal sources, meats, fish, eggs, dairy. Protein will keep you full and will also keep your blood sugar stable and balanced, and this is the key when you are trying to quit sugar. Blood sugar spikes, especially in the first meal of the day, will wake up your sugar cravings and keep them high throughout the day, which will make it harder for you to quit sugar. It is much harder to stay away from sugar and to keep your sugar cravings low when you eat fruit for breakfast or any sources of carbohydrates. Vegetables play an important role as well. First of all, they contain fiber that keeps you full and helps you go number 2, which is very important when you are trying to quit sugar. Secondly, vegetables help us detoxify. Our bodies naturally start detoxifying when we lower the amount of sugar we eat. And vegetables help this process. They have components that grab onto the toxins in the body and remove them out of the body. There is nothing worse than having those toxins being stuck in the body and recirculating in our bloodstream and making us feel all those sugar detox withdrawal symptoms. And vegetables help take care of it by removing those toxins timely out of our bodies. And number 3, vegetables help us feed the good bacteria in the gut. That good bacteria in return helps us digest the food and produce certain vitamins. And it also makes us crave healthy foods. So when we eat veggies, we feed that good bacteria, and the more bacteria we have, the more healthy food cravings we have. Tip number 4, manage stress. Stress can trigger sugar cravings. So find the ways to relax. We are conditioned to want sugar when we are stressed and tired. Sugar is a quick but cheap fuel. Many of us have been taught since childhood to reach for sugar when things are tough. To stop this vicious cycle, we need to learn to manage stressful situations without reaching for sugar. Exercise is the best way to get the dopamine rush and the endorphins without consuming sugar. Go for a walk daily. It is proven to improve your mood and get you into a better state of mind. But any exercise would do. You don't need to exert yourself, but you need to be moving, and you need to start feeling better a few minutes after starting any exercise routine. And tip number 5, get enough sleep. Poor sleep can increase your cravings for sugary foods. We've all been there, where after a sleepless night, we crave sugary foods more than ever. This is because our brains know that we need energy, and the quickest way to get it is from consuming sugar. So we end up craving it. If this happens once in a while, this is not going to affect your health, eating a little bit more sugar after a sleepless night. But if the lack of sleep becomes chronic, you may end up in a situation where you are relying on sugar all the time to get the energy, and it becomes your habit. And that's when all the excess sugar is going to start affecting your health. It happened to me when I was a new mom. I had 3 kids in 3 years, and that meant many sleepless nights and many days when I was very tired and I was relying on sugar to get extra energy. It started to affect my health. I started to have yeast infections that led to sinus infections, brain fog, joint pain, being chronically tired, you name it. And all of those symptoms and diseases went away once I stopped eating sugar and cut it out completely out of my life. There you go. You had 5 tips on how to manage your sugar cravings. Have you noticed that only 2 of them are about food and the rest of them are about your lifestyle? In my free Sugar Detox guide, I have a lot more tested tips on how to stop your sugar cravings for good. Follow the link in the description to get it right now. You need those tips to stop your sugar cravings today. It is possible to become fully in control of your sugar cravings, where you decide when you want to eat something and treat yourself, and when you don't want to eat anything, you are in control of that as well without suffering. And the 5 tips that we discussed in this video are very important. These are the basics. Watch my other videos on the Sugar Detox playlist and learn more about how to stop your sugar cravings for good.